Hello. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Want to thank everybody for staying late on a day like today. I know it's most of us had pretty long nights, with especially with the extra hour added. Hopefully, most everybody was safe. Property people, everybody else. I know some of us. I know we were in the shelter for a little while in the middle of the night. So definitely scary stuff. Definitely, as I know Roger said, wanted thoughts and prayers with everybody in the community. I know kind of 240 and Sooner area, Hera, a bunch of other areas were, and Newcastle and other areas were hit. So definitely thoughts and prayers with them. So, and I appreciate everybody being willing to audible with us a little bit. I know this is not our usual Sunday we would do this. Our normal Sunday, I believe, would have been actually the Sunday of the charge conference, and that would have just made it a kind of a really crazy long day for those of us that went to the charge conference. And we also needed a little extra time to get some stuff together. As we go through the meeting, we're going to give our normal staff and administrative reports. We'll have a special report coming up from my father-in-law, David Rogers, about a financial situation with the church, and he'll be able to give us an update on things where we're at, where we're looking at going, and some general plans of what we're going to do over time. So we're going to hear some have some pretty serious conversations today about our status and where we're at, just so that, those of us on the administrative team, I think, are fairly aware, pretty aware of where we're at. We want to make sure the church is fully aware of where things are at. But on a positive note, I want to tell you what a blessing it was to 2 weeks ago to attend charge conference with Roger and staff and a few other members. It was really a blessing to get together and see, with the way they redid the districting, and it was nice to hear about the different ministries and opportunities that different churches were having. And I had the blessing opportunity to give a quick little report on our church. And what I really realized as I was doing it was, because they wanted us to talk about all the ministries that we're doing, is I think I had Dr. Kim kept looking at me to see if I was going to be quiet, because I felt like we just kept rattling off things that we were doing. And I kept thinking, man, we've got a lot going on, and that's great. And we have so many things going on, which I think is why it's going to be so vitally important that we continue to work through the business side of this to figure out ways we can continue to improve our financial stability, because we know that there's the business side of the church, but even more so, there's the ministry of the church, which is what we're all participating in. And there are so many vital and important ministries that I think we are participating in, not only here at this church, but outside of this church. And we're making a difference. And we want to continue to be able to do so. But it really reminded me, being there, of, wow, look at all the things that we're involved with, and how many people here, and everybody here is involved in at least one thing, and many times multiple handfuls of things. And so we want to continue to be here to be able to do that. But there's definitely was a lot of positives there, and it just it was a neat experience. And so if you ever have the chance to attend Charge Conference, I would encourage you to do it, because it really is a neat and blessed experience. So that being said, I'll open us with a quick word of prayer, and then we'll get going on with the rest of the meeting. Father God, we thank you so much for being able to gather here today to discuss the work of your church, the ministry that you would have us do. We ask that bless those that couldn't be with us today, bless our community, and be with those that are struggling this morning after weather situations, people that have medical situations, and as has already been prayed for today with upcoming election and social situations in our world. Please help us to be able to be a light, be an outreach from you, and be able to spread your love in our community around us. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, I'd like to get started. We'll start off with some staff. These are attendance forms. I'm going to pass it around, so make sure you sign one. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Kathy, for doing that. I normally have Michelle here helping us keep us on task with that, but we're going to pass around a sign in so we can have record of everybody's attendance. If you would please do that. We're going to start off with staff reports. I'm going to start off with JR, who can give us a report on youth and anything else he wants to update.
Bon après-midi à tous. Okay. Um, just a quick report on the youth ministry. We still using our curriculum that we usually meet on Wednesday evening and Sunday morning, but mostly in the afternoon. We usually have some fun activities. And I'm working on the potential mission trip again during the spring. That should be like March, and I'm still in touch with some of the leaders at McFarland. We are seeing the potential mission trip as well in March, and I think we should. We're talking about having all night here spending at church with. I think I'm gonna get all the details with Sarah, with the people that went on a mission trip this past summer, and we have another event coming up. Of course, I just want to say thank you first of all for each and every one of you for taking your time to be outside at the pumpkin. We really appreciate you. It took the effort of everybody. Debbie's gonna come up and give all the details. But I just want to say thank you so much. I know it took the whole, each and every one of you to be out there and support our ministry. We are truly thankful for your support, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you. And I'm still working. Like I said, I'm working on the potential mission trip during the spring break, and the summer one we have already touched a little bit about it with Ox UMC City. They haven't find exactly the place where we'll go yet, but we're still in the process of knowing, and when the time is right, we are going to communicate to you when where we'll be going during the summer. And yeah, apart from that, I love working with the youth. They are so fun, and they are growing in faith. Even some of the discussion that we have, and it's good. Somebody came to me and told me that um, for for the past, since she has been here, she has never seen the youth being so happy, and so that was a good comment for me. And I'm like, okay, thank you. It was something good to hear, and I think I'll keep on working hard and trying to. Ministry is for everybody, although we have all these posts that we have, but it takes the support and advice for each and every one of us for us to be able to continue with our ministry. So, and lastly, I would like to thank each and every one of you for the support that you have shown me about the fundraiser that we had. Word cannot express how grateful I am, and myself, I know where I'm standing and what I've been going through, but I'm so thankful for the support that you have shown me for each and every one of you for the fundraiser that we had. I'm really thankful. That's what I have to say. If there was no any other word other than thank you, I would have said it, but I'm just grateful for your love and support that you continue to show unto me. Thank you. Okay, whenever I see Tom, he always raise his hand. It means that I should only have one wife, but who knows when she gets here.
We would all be very dull if we did not have Tom Hibbets with us. All right. So next we'll do children's update, and Miss Lexi will come up and do that for us.
Okay, hello, friends. So big news with our children's ministry. We now have. Oh wait, we are now the Mountain Movers. We are following. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I've worked so much in the past 2 days. The verse in Matthew where it talks about the mustard seed, that if you can plant faith the size of a mustard seed, that you can move mountains, and that's kind of our goal moving forward with the children, is that we want to instill faith in them, that they truly believe that they can move mountains. With that, we've also split our classrooms into lower and upper elementary, which has been very successful. Thank you to anyone who's donated, and to the UWF for donating a lot of things on our wish list. We still have things we need and would like, so if you would like to support us that way, I can get you our wish list or send you a list of stuff that we're still looking for. We also have a new policy manual just outlining all the expectations of me, the people volunteering, expectations of students, also with paperwork. So we have information about all of our kids as well. That is super fun. With that, we do need some more children's ministry volunteers on Wednesday night. So if you are interested in that, please shoot me an email and I can get you looped in as well. Yeah, that's a really big change we've been working on. So thank you to Betsy, Caitlin, all the people on our children's steering committee for helping me with that. That has been a huge change in the past few months. We also, if you did not know, have a new nursery director. Her name is Sherry. I don't know if I see her here right now, but you should pop in and say hi to her. She's super sweet, and she's doing lovely work in the nursery. And then lastly, information about confirmation will be coming soon because we have a large group of 6th graders who need to be confirmed and be given the opportunity to become members of our church. That's really all I have right now, so thank you so much.
How does this work?
Thank you, Lexi. I know that it was really a blessing to be at the indoor trunk or treat. Remind me of all carnivals we used to have. It was really a blessing, and I know they already said thank you for everybody that participated. But it was neat to see that many people in here. I was also glad the fire marshal did not show up. But it was neat to have that many people here. I know there were a lot of kids, a lot of kids, a lot of candy, a lot of fun. So, and I'm still sore from keeping up with my booth. So, but it was a lot of fun. All right, next we'll have Debbie come up and give us an update on Kids Academy as well as Family Ministries and give us the drum roll on the final total with the pumpkins.
I'm not that tall. Okay, so Kids Academy is going really great. We provide individualized curriculum for each kid in our care, which means that whenever my teachers make their lesson plans, they plan for each child individually. So if a child has a disability or they just have like a delay in like a certain area, like fine motor or gross motor, then they plan extra activities to help that child so that all of our children are receiving the best care that they can get. What's going on right now is we just finished our parent-teacher conferences and child assessments. We are studying harvest on the farm, woodland animals, and turkey and Thanksgiving this month. These are some of my beautiful kids. Every day they're just so bright and smiley, and even if you're having a bad day, they make it 5,000 times better. And our current enrollment is at 96. We do have 133 capacity, so we are enrolling. We are 5-star rated, and we serve all of Southwest Oklahoma City and more. We do transport to 4 elementary schools. We accept DHS subsidy, private pay, tribal pay. We are going to have a private pay rate increase as of January, and any families that are enrolling now are already going to be at the new rate to help with a little bit of income. And also just to offset some costs and be around where other child care centers in our area are charging at this time. We do offer discounts to church members as well as family discounts if parents have like multiple siblings, and military discounts. That's about it for Kids Academy. We have a lot of fun each day. My teachers work really hard. We have a really great staff right now, and I want to keep all of them because they're doing really good. But we do need more kids, and we're going to keep them because SPRC has been able to help for us to provide them with some benefits as far as vision and dental insurance, life insurance, and disability. So that's really great, and that'll start for the new year. So yes, it's very great, and they do get like vacation pay and stuff like that. So we have quite a great package to present to people that want to work in early childhood. Next slide, please, Devin. Thank you. Our pumpkin patch fundraiser is over, thank goodness, but it's we sold a total of 3,424 pumpkins. We made $20,022.50, of which we get to keep $7,007.88. And that's thanks to everybody out here that worked 1 second in the pumpkin patch, help unload the truck. I don't care what you did. If you did anything that in regards to the pumpkin patch, that's part of your success. And family ministries, we have a schedule of events that we perform each year. We facilitate all the gathering meals, the members meeting meals. We'll have a chili cook-off in February. We're gonna do an Indian taco dinner fundraiser in March. We'll have Easter lily sales in April. We're gonna do poinsettia sales here coming up. For our 4th of July fellowship, and of course the VBS family event. If you are interested in helping organize, plan, facilitate anything for family ministries, please let me or Sarah know. Even if that means just helping with a cleanup or helping with a setup or bringing a dessert, we don't care. Any help is wanted, needed, appreciated. The gathering meals, we do have Miss Sarah and Pam that help on the first Wednesdays of each month. The second Wednesday is the men, and we really appreciate that they do that. Every third Wednesday is one of the Women of Faith small groups, but our fourth Wednesdays, we don't really have specific people that do that, so if you're willing to take a Wednesday, please see me so I can put you on the calendar. Even if it's 4 months away, I don't care. Just having somebody in that slot is very needed and helpful. And then obviously fifth Wednesdays are potluck, and so we appreciate anybody that can bring anything for that. If you are set up to do a meal, that doesn't mean that you're responsible for purchasing those items. You just kind of get with me and let me know what you need to make the meal, and I will make sure you have everything you need. Something else I'm really excited about is I'm starting a support ministry. Basically what that means is that once a month there will be small support groups that will happen. The first one is going to start, well, there will be 4 to start, and there will be a grief and loss support, teen parent support and mentor program, a parenting children with disabilities, and then marriage growth and support. The first one that will start will be the grief and support group. I've already set it up on Planning Center, so if you're interested in coming to that, it'll start November 21st. It will be in Owen Chapel from 6:30 to 8. There's no judgment. It's a safe environment for you to come to. It's not counseling. It's literally people sitting around talking and providing fellowship and love to each other that are going through similar things. It may not even be the same. You know, grief and loss isn't just that somebody's passed away or whatever. I mean, it could be divorce. You might have PTSD from a situation, depression and anxiety. I mean, just living can cause that. You may have lost your job or income or loss of home, or if you just know anybody that fits into any of those categories, please tell them about this so that they can come. I also have a Facebook group that I'll share, that I'll be sharing daily devotionals on for anybody that's dealing with grief or anything else that I feel will be kind of uplifting to people. But how can you reach us? You can email me, call the church and ask for me. On Facebook, you can go to @SHUMC Support Ministry. It'll come up with my name, but it'll have that picture. And then on Planning Center, you just go to groups, you'll just find the one for support and request to join. And on there, I'll put different things for our meetings and things like that. So please, if you're going through anything, don't do it alone. Come sit with us in a group and talk about it, or just sit there and don't talk about it. But I have lots of information and stuff that I've been reading that I'm going to be sharing and things like that. And I think that's it. And then as far as our safe sanctuary policies go, I didn't make a slide for it, but here, starting in January, if you do help in a ministry, you may be asked to do a background check if you don't already have one, or watch an online training. And it's not like you have to come here and do anything, it's all online now. So if you're asked by somebody that leads a ministry that you work in, don't get upset. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Debbie. All right, next we'll have Lene, who will come up and give an SBRC update. And we all want to wish Lene a very happy birthday, because today is Lene's birthday.
That's right, 21. Thanks, Kyle. So I'm going to be super quick. We don't have any employee staff updates, but we have completed the clergy reviews, and SBRC recommendation was to retain both JR and Roger. So fingers crossed that we get to do that. We'll let you know when we know. But any questions? Okay, that's it.
All right, sometimes in SPRC, no news is good news. So, amen to that. So, all right, I'll go ahead and let, is Kathy, there she is. Okay, no report yet from finance, and we're going to be getting an update from Dave here in a minute on some of it as well. So, all right, next we're going to have the silver tag team. So we'll have Caitlin and Randy to give us trustees as well as kind of technology multimedia update.
No, I'm not scared. All right, I just wanted to give you guys a quick tutorial on your church center apps. So if you have your phone and you want to follow along, pull it out, open up your app. I just want to show you a couple of very useful things. So have you opened up your app, Randall?
I'm getting there.
All right, so you open up your app, and a lot of times it'll do Face ID or whatever to get you logged in. And when you first open it up, it should be on your home page. And that's what you see there. If you look at the bottom, along the bottom, that's your menu. If you click the Me button, that's the bottom left button, it says Me. If you see right under your hello, it should say, mine says hello Caitlin, his says hello Randy. Go to notifications.
Hold on. Marty, does yours say hello Randy or hello Caitlin? No. Okay.
Okay, good. If it doesn't say your name, maybe your profile is not completely set up, and we'll help you do that if you would like us to. If not, I don't want to force this on anybody, but I promise it's easy and great to use. So if you've ever...
Church Center is just being annoying to Marty.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so right under your, see where it says hello, right underneath that it says notifications. So whenever we used to send out text messages, right, that gave little brief updates or announcements. Now we send them through here because it is free. We were having to pay for text messages. This is free. But what happens, Michelle was telling me, sometimes you get that announcement on your phone and then you're like, I don't remember what it said. Where do I see them after they pop up? So this is where you go. You go to Me, and then you go to Notifications. You can click View All right there. Thank you, Randy. View All. And any of them that have the little megaphone shape next to them, that's an announcement. So click on that, Randy. That's the one that I sent yesterday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was reminding you about the members meeting. So well, that's because I don't think you're set up completely, but we'll help you. So anyway, that's where you see past announcements, and I didn't realize that it was kind of tricky to get to, but I want everyone to feel very empowered and able to go back and see those announcements after they pop up on your phone. Why am I standing on my tippy toes? All right, can we move on to the next thing? Okay. We're happy to stay behind and help anybody if you would like us to, one by one, because I know it's kind of tricky when you're following along. All right, next, that bottom menu will always be there. So you can always go back to your home page, or what I want to show you next is Give. That, if you're logged in, is how simple it is to give. You literally type in an amount and go from there, but that's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you is, at any point in time, you can see where you are in your giving. If you want to know how much you've given so far, click My Giving. You can look at donation history, and that's not going to give you a total, but it'll show you each donation individually. So that's how you can kind of keep track and see where you are there. Recurring donations is how you can set up automatic recurring donations. That's great because you don't have to think about it. It automatically comes out once a month or whatever frequency you want it to. Payment methods,
If you see up on mine, I like to see, or I like to give and know how much I'm giving. So I don't have any recurring donations set up, but if you had one, you would see it here. So I'm showing you what's kind of going on my phone. I don't have any recurring donations set up. That's why you see no recurring donations.
Okay, so now really quick, go to payment methods. I want to show you this super quick. Hi, buddy. We've talked about this before. If you give with a card, that is a credit or a debit card, the fees are a little bit higher than if you just give by setting up your bank account. If you set up your bank account, you have it set up, right? So Tinker, that's Randy's bank account. It only costs 30 cents per transaction. He could give $50 and it would be 30 cents, or he could give $5,000 and it would be 30 cents. So you want to be sure you're set up through your bank and not through a card. Don't pay ridiculous fees, or don't charge the church ridiculous fees either. Last thing I wanted to do was go to pledges, and I'm just opening that quickly because I know that's kind of personal. But if you look there and if you submitted a pledge for 2024, it will show up there. And yeah, we'll just flash that quickly. But you can literally see what percentage you are in your pledge. Like, honestly, we're a tad behind. We're at 80%, and by November, well, I don't know, what's November? A little more than 80% through the year. So anyway, it's a good way to see where you are and hold yourself accountable, and just be aware of where you are. And at any time, of course, yes, you can ask the church office where you are in your giving, and we can supply a report for you anytime. But if you want to check it on your own at 3 a.m., this is how you can do it. You cannot call the church. Well, you could try to call the church at 3 a.m., but I doubt you'd get an answer. Yeah, you could call Roger anytime. Okay. Yes. All right, then last thing, and I wasn't planning to show you this, but Debbie talked about it and I completely forgot. On the bottom right of the menu at the bottom, you'll see 3 dots that say More. Click that. More. Go to Groups. And we're still working on getting some of these set up, so if you don't see a group that you're in and you feel like it should be there, we'll work on it. But this new group that Debbie set up, go under Unique Groups, scroll down to the bottom, Randy. What are you doing? Unique Groups. And that you will see the Coping with Grief and Loss Support Group. So you can click that, open it up, and you can request to join, or you can contact, and it'll send Debbie an email letting her know you are interested. Now, that's not the only way you can sign up. You can also just talk to Debbie or just show up, but that is a way you can enroll, and she'll get notified. So, all right. And as always, come ask me questions afterward. I love getting to share this with people because I think it's a great tool. So, with that, thank you for your time.
Kyle, do you want to come up and I'm just kidding. All right. Yes, thank you, Caitlin, for that. I and Jonah are going to talk to you about trustees. He's my little helper. Come here, bud. Yep. All right, as always, I like to remind folks that the trustees exist and we do things. Your trustees this year are Devin Kuchenbecker, who's our secretary, Danny Humpula, who is just member, Larry Grant, who is our vice chair, and I am the chair for this year. We will have new members next year, so be excited about that. Woohoo! It's actually going to be a great thing. So better support, more representation from across the church. We'll have official members from Kids Academy, the Scouts, and then some more a diverse group, so more women than just all men. As you know, we men have great taste, but we need the other half to balance us out. What I really want to highlight from the trustees so far is we've been trying to focus greatly on our children and youth ministries. Some areas we're really falling flat. If you go down to the youth room, you'll see some insulation hanging down. We know about it. In fact, all of you faithful folks who have been going online and filling out facility use requests, those are very helpful, and I encourage you to continue to do that. But just as a reminder, there's just 4 of us, and I am particularly busy, so I don't always get back as soon as I possibly can. But you can always reach out to the church or email the trustees at shumcokc.org. Knowing that you will forget that, go to our webpage, and you can always get in contact with us there. You can always just call us. Call the church, call Jonah, he'll answer. But 2 of the things that I want to highlight that you guys have been supporting with your donations to the church, again, to support some of our ministries, we've replaced all the lights on the CLC and on the north structure, as well as the 3 lights that are above the parking lot. That was a major undertaking, and we appreciate your support. Throw in a couple extra dollars into your donation to help cover those. We recently had a couple of folks yesterday replace a water heater, an ancient water heater, by golly, that supports our Kids Academy, which is something that we are required to do by state regulation to have hot water. So that was a quick deal, so I appreciate the folks that helped with that. We've been doing this throughout the year, trying to really focus on the children and youth area, but we have a large campus and we need some help, so have your ears to the ground. I will be reaching out to folks to help with some of our maintenance activities, especially as Advent comes along. We're going to try to have some work groups. Yep. Yeah, Jonah is excited. He really wants to come up here and wave to you guys while you're working real hard, especially when you're on a ladder. He loves that. But anyway, I won't drone on too much longer. As always, trustees members are open to not just you guys, but to anyone. So please feel free to come and attend. That doesn't mean you get a voice, but you can definitely attend. So be sure to show up, and always feel free to ask us if you have any questions or comments. Your comments are welcome. And again, we thank you for your support and your loving care for this ministry. Any questions while I'm standing here? That's excellent. Okay, thank you very much.
Randy, you're going to have to come up later and repeat all that, because I think everybody was staring at Jonah the whole time. And get used to it. You're just going to be Raylan and Jonah's dad here from now on, pretty much. So, and did you have a members meeting this upcoming Wednesday, or not members meeting, the trustee meeting coming up this next Wednesday, November 13th. Okay, so a week and a half. All right, very good. All right, we're going to have Shay give us an update on music ministry and show, playhouse, and all that.
Thank you. All right, I'll be really quick. I do want to start off like piggybacking on Kids Academy. Overall, we still really need kids. I still have the same 3 to 4 kids that like come to Show Playhouse. Just found out that one of our students drives an hour every day to come to us because there's nothing. She lives in Geary, Oklahoma. So didn't know that, but they're always happy to be here 4 days a week. So I think if we can get someone an hour away to come here, I think we can work harder to get locals here. But that's still really an issue, like a major thing. We're so behind on recruitment I think if you all please invite a kid, and you have the perfect chance because November 10th, we're doing our first, this is very hot. We're doing our first, it's not? Am I just loud? Okay. We're doing the first showcase of Show Playhouse November 10th at 6 p.m. It's free. It's a Sunday night. Please come because it'll be a lot of the kids' first time performing in front of people. So I think it would be nice for them to see the support. So if you can come, it'll be about an hour. Zibby and me, Zibby and Kimmy, like there's about 4 of the teachers from Show Playhouse who are gonna perform, but the kids are also performing on their own, and it'll just be a really fun time. And yeah, it's a great time if someone is interested in Show Playhouse, doesn't know what it is, it's a good way to see what it's about. Yes, I emailed our 6-month grant report to Woodworth Grant Estates Grant on the 29th of October. I haven't heard back from them, so I assume we're okay. We sent it, it's okay. They seem really low-key about everything else, but as far as I know, it's been looked at by Pastor and the board, the Show Playhouse board, and we're in good standing, like with the money, and everything's pretty good right now. The biggest thing that we have for the rest of the year, we have Bethlehem Express. That's going to be the children's Christmas play. Woo! December 18th. And then we also have our major, this is what I'm going to consider our major Show Playhouse fundraiser. It's the dinner show, December 13th, 14th. We're not paying, it does not cost much to do that show. We're only paying a little bit for the actors themselves, but the show is free. I've already bought all the costumes. I bought everything from last year when it didn't happen. Sorry, y'all. But the dinner is going to be great. Tickets are on sale, so please buy them, but we will not sell show-only tickets until 2 days before. So if you want to buy tickets now, you're only able to buy dinner show tickets, and it includes a 4-course meal, really nice. We're going to try to get the youth ministry to be our servers that evening for both nights. And tickets, $50 tickets, but that includes your dinner. And then $35 children dinner tickets. Other than that, that's there. My biggest thing is the recruiting. If we can share what we're doing and invite a kid. Transportation seems to be the biggest issue, but I think if you can even just invite a kid and bring them and see what's going on, that would be really helpful. Last update, SpongeBob tickets will go on sale in January. I want to wait for the rest of the year before we start really talking about SpongeBob. And we still need some helpers, so like if you know you want to be involved but don't want to be on stage, please reach out to me. And we're finalizing our cast list and things like that this next week. So you'll get to know everybody who's doing what by the next week. And then as far as our music ministry goes, I don't really have an update. We're doing good. Christmas is coming up, so we're gonna have a lot of fun, awesome music. We will be rehearsing a little bit extra at the end of November and beginning of December, but that's really the only update I have. Just support the kids, and I really believe that we could do something great. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And I've heard there's a few rumors from some different people that have some different parts. I've heard Tom Hibbets has a part. I've heard some other people have some parts. So it'll be this with SpongeBob. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
You might have seen also a Nat King Cole review that's being promoted. So actually, there's Cameron over there. He's Nat King Cole in the review. But they have graciously offered us a stipend to use the space for the event, and they've also offered 10% of their ticket sales. So for every ticket we sell, we get $4. So let's try to get people to come. I think it'll be a really fun event. I'm also a part of it, so you'll get to hear me sing too. But you don't have to do it just because I'm in it. But I think y'all would really enjoy it. We've never done anything like this, but I truly believe this success from this event could open doors for what we can do in the future to kind of get people in this building. But that was the last thing, sorry.
All right. Thank you, Shay. All right. So we've talked about a lot of the great ministries and things that we have going on and the exciting things. So, but now we're going to have to make sure we find a way to support all of that. So, in an effort to continue to be as transparent as possible and let everybody know where we're at, we recently put a team together. The administrative board put a team together that's headed by David Rogers, which is almost basically kind of a rebirth of the long-range planning team in a way to start looking at some, take a deeper dive at our financial status, where we're at, and eventually explore more options. And there will be discussions that will happen over the course of the next few months. I know there'll be a special meeting that we'll eventually have as we get into next year, and I don't want to steal his thunder too much, but we're going to start out by letting him give us a special report of basically kind of where we've been, where we're at, and we'll kind of go from there. But I'll ask David to come up and give us that report.
I hope everybody's having a great day. That was kind of an exciting night last night. We don't have we don't have sirens in Newcastle, Oklahoma. And at 1:40, my daughter called and she said, "Are you asleep?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, there's a tornado right outside your house." So it woke us up very quickly. We have a tremendous number of ministries going on in this church. Hopefully you can tell just by what's going on and what's been talked about. There's something going on in this building, in that kitchen, somewhere, someday, every day, there's something happening. One of the difficulties in the church that's always hard to talk about is the finances of the church. What does it take to operate the business of the church? It's always a little bit of a sticky subject when you start talking about finances. Sometimes people don't want to hear about them, sometimes they do. But as Kyle said, to be very transparent, we're having a tough time. And I want to share some information with you. I want to give you just a little bit of history on what's happened in this church and what we're looking and facing going forward. If I could have the first slide, please. If you guys will take a look at this, this is a record of our general giving since 2016. As you can see, we were at $358,000 back in 2016. It declined a little bit as we went along, and then the magic word COVID came along in 2020. We stopped meeting in person. Folks were not tithing as much online. And when we did get back together, a lot of people did not come back to in-person worship. And as you can see what's happened, that's dropped from 2020 down 2021, 22, and it started a little bit of a rebound, and that 2024 number is only an estimate based on some mid-year numbers. Kathy put together some extrapolations, but we're not for sure. We really were facing a tough situation. I'm going to be very honest with you. And as we looked at the ministries of the church, we looked at the things that were happening. The ad council, the finance team, all the folks involved in the leadership in the church, we didn't sit back and relax. I want to tell you kind of some things that we looked at. I can't read that, it's too far away. So I'll have to turn around from you just a little bit. But we were not sitting back on our laurels. We knew we faced real problems without people coming back to church. Next slide, please. First thing is, in April of 2020, we took out a PPP loan, payroll protection loan. You guys have all heard about it. Almost every business in the country took it out during the COVID years, the COVID time, to try to just make sure we paid our people. That was to the sum of some $82,000. Now, if you remember, if you're in business, I know you will know this, but the PPP loan was eventually forgiven by the government. We did not have to pay that back. And that helped us keep the doors open. $82,000 is a lot of money. Second thing is, in November of 2020, we as a committee decided to take out what's known as an EIDL loan, or the Economic Impact Disaster Loan, of about $150,000. We began to pay that back in March of 2023. That's a 30-year maturity, and right now we're paying $641 a month to try to pay that back. That's two things, but there are many, many more. Next slide, please. There it is. Kids Academy, through COVID money and different things that came up through the DHS. Let me give you an example. Debbie went to work and made a lot of contacts for us and helped us through the DHS department. In December of 2021, we received a $14,000 grant. March, $14,000. August the next year, $28,000. December of 2022, we received another grant of $29,000. The STARS program in December of 2022 also gave us $15,000 more dollars. And then last year, we were very blessed. There was some extra money that they were supplying to the folks and presenting to us and giving us an opportunity, and Debbie went after those very aggressively, and we received DHS grants in February, June, and August of 2023 of $77,000 each, which for those grants from December of 2021 came to $331,000. Sounds like a lot of money, and the $77,000 sounds like a great grant, and it was. I'll just give you one number to think about. Between that building and this building, it costs us about $72,000 a year for heating and air conditioning. So that those grants only pay for a portion of operating our buildings. Next slide, please. Kids Academy also was able to receive some DHS food subsidies from October of 2021 through November of 2022 to the tune of about $84,000. We did not get any of that money in 2024, but we have reapplied, and we're awaiting on approval, and we haven't heard from that yet. But hopefully, and if you look at those numbers, that's about a year. We were receiving somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000 a month for those DHS food subsidies. Next slide. And then comes a great big one. Last year in 2023, and I know you guys have probably heard on the radio, they're advertising it every day, what they call the ERC, or the Employee Retention Credit Refund. File this form, send this in, get $26,000 per employee, or up to $26,000. And we took a chance. We, through Kathy and Lene, we were able to reach out to a company that helps businesses and churches apply for that. They were willing to work with us on this and apply for this. We didn't know if we would be approved. They had a fee, and I'll be very honest with you, we had to pay a fee for their services. They wanted us to pay 10% upfront or 15% if we got the loan first, if we got the refund first. We didn't have the money to pay it up front, so we all agreed we would take the 15% hit. We were approved to the tune of $301,000. The fee, the 15% fee, was right at $40,000, and so we netted some $262,000 from the ERC fund. Again, sounds like a lot of money, but to operate our church and to keep our business going with our employees and all of our ministries, we took a portion of that and went ahead and paid some expenses, paid some bills that had gotten behind, and we put $150,000 into the Methodist Foundation to let it start drawing some interest. I would be very honest with you, that $150,000 stayed there, Kathy, for 8 months, 7-8 months, and regretfully, we've had to pull $50,000 out of that fund to help supplement what's going on in the church because of the general revenue giving. So, that's kind of what we've done. It looks like a lot of money, and it is, but to keep our building open, to keep things going, to keep our church functional, we had to look very deeply into inside ourselves. How can we make things like this happen? And that leads us to 2025. Go ahead and put the next slide up. Basically, folks, all of the free money has been exhausted. Moving forward, we are really on our own when it comes to general revenue. There's not any more COVID money or grant money or those kinds of things. The general revenue is where we need to find a way to support the ministries of our church. that needs to increase. And if you go back to slide 1, you don't have to, Devin. Go back to slide 1. You know, we are down some $50,000 to $60,000 from where we were back in 2017 and 2018. So that's estimate. That 307 is only an estimate. Back to our projected shortfall right now for 2025 is about $200,000. We need to make that up. We need to find a way to come up with more revenue in our church, preferably through our general giving and our general revenue. That's a hard pill to swallow, and I recognize that. But if we don't tell you this, we can't take any action to move forward. Now, in November of 24, Pastor Roger is going to start a stewardship campaign. He's going to be talking to us about things that need to happen, about pledge cards, about sacrificial giving. I don't know, he's got a whole repertoire of stuff. But those are the kind of things we're going to be looking at in November of 2024. It's scary. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's scary where we are. We have so much going on, but we have to pay for it. That's just simply the bottom line. Now, I will add one more part to this, and then I'll hand the microphone to Pastor Roger. Next slide, please. Kyle mentioned the LRP, or the Finance Steering Committee. We have met several times, and depending on what happens with our stewardship campaign, we are also out looking for additional outside revenue sources, kind of thinking out of the box. We're trying to raise money in addition and above and beyond the general revenue giving. We've got some great ideas. We've got some real smart people in this room. We've got some folks that have been thinking well outside the box. But we are not going to present this to you until January of 2025. We're putting a calendar together of outside events. But on top of that, we wanted to wait until our general stewardship pledge campaign was completed to find out kind of where we needed to be. But this is the state of our church today, and it's kind of a tough state. But I will be glad to field any questions. I can't hear you. Oh, yeah, if you have a question, we've got a microphone. Yes, ma'am. Oh, she's the microphone person. I thought she was the microphone. I know this is stark. I know it's tough. But I will also tell you, and I was thinking about it this morning, the folks that Pastor Roger, the saints that have passed on, I knew 3 of those folks really, really well. And I've known a lot of people in the past. And I wish Larry and Judy Warner could be here. It's kind of hard for him to get around. They've been here since 1962. Tom and Glenda have been here for 47 years, and Pam and I for about 40 years. We have faced crises before. We have faced challenges before. But I truly believe that with God, nothing is impossible. So I'm asking you to think about this. Roger's going to give you his spiel and so forth, but I want you to be aware. Yes, ma'am.
My question is do we know how many, I'm sure you do, how many members we have, and breaking down that $200,000, how much each member would need to increase their giving?
I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't have that information, but okay. I bet you by the time we get to next week, we could find that. Maybe Roger has it.
Yeah, so maybe we have an idea of how much more we need to come up with.
Yeah. Okay, well,
okay. Thank you.
Would somebody Sarah, write that down so I don't forget to make sure we follow up. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have the number of giving units or whatever, but our general giving was $300,000. So we need an additional $200,000. That means if each of us could increase our giving by 2/3, that's highly unlikely. If you give $10,000 this year, the next year you need to give $17,000. Well, those are big numbers. So just give whatever the Lord places on your heart to give.
They are. It is difficult to think about that, but any increase, anything you could sacrificially say, hey, I think I can. I do this all the time. I could do with one less Big Mac a day. So. But whatever it is, folks, that we can dig deep and so forth, I really will tell you, we are one of the most active churches. I talk to folks and friends, and we got so much going on. And I would like for this to continue at the same level, functionality, viability, and life. I don't know how many of you are here Wednesday night, but I don't know if anybody counted. This is my estimate, and I could be off, but we had over 400 people. Over 400 people in here for trunk or treat. No, they're not all going to come back to church. They're not all going to show up. But we built this building as an outreach to the community. We have our building, our old place where we've served people for all these years. And I just think it's very important for us to think very, very deeply about what we need to do. It says it up front. The free money is gone. We have, I think, and I don't know if you want to applaud them, but I think your leadership team has done a marvelous job helping us keep this open through. Nobody could have predicted COVID. Nobody. And I think your leadership team has done a heck of a job keeping us up and viable. Any other questions? Thank you so much. Pastor Roger?
Okay. One of the first things that has occurred to me as I've met with our leaders and as we've talked about it is that there's like no one thing that's going to resurrect us or get us back to where we need to be. And I'll give you an example of that because there's several things that we need to do. One of the things we've talked about doing is increasing our giving. I'll come back to that in just a minute. The other thing is stewardship. We've asked, each area to try to practice a little more stewardship. How could we save $500 here? How could we save $1,000 there and still do many of the things we're doing? But, at the same time, you have to remember that things cost money. In the area of giving, I want you to know that what I'm hoping each of us do is to come to terms with what it means to be a faithful person in general. When it comes to making pledge cards, for example, I've seen pledge cards many times, that talk about the finances and all that kind of stuff, and then you have a place there where you either write in what your pledge is or you check off something and then you sign it or you just turn it in, and this is where I am. The best pledge cards I've ever seen is, I will support this church first with my attendance. I will support this church with my prayers. I will support this church by serving it in a number of different capacities. And then you come to the fourth one, which is what is your giving? And so that's what I want to start out talking about next week, is that what does it mean to be a faithful person of God, and for giving to be just one part of that. Now, do we need to challenge ourselves? Of course we do. And I've never looked at any statistics on this church in terms of the average member gives 6.5%. I've never looked at anything like that. And if you want to, we can do something like that. We can look at those kinds of things, but it still just comes back to challenging us to stretch ourselves a little further. We have talked about doing fundraising, and we're of course going to try to come up with a fundraising plan that we will present to the church at the end of January, ways that we can pick up $1,000 here, a couple $1,000 there. And there's a couple of other projects that are bigger, long-term projects that we can engage in to try to bring back a balance. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I'm limited in what I can give, or I'm just not a really big giver. But I have to tell you this: it is when all of God's people come together and each does their part that we get the very best giving that we could possibly have. And It is just each and every one of us being in prayer and being faithful to what God has asked each one of us to do. That's not always an easy thing to do, and I think I've talked to you all before about this. I mean, it wasn't until Dana began to work full time, and this was, let's see, about 2.5 years ago, that we were able to begin saving money. Now, I raised 2 daughters, and we sent both of them through college. And I've served churches for many years. And there are times in our life when we just barely got by, but we always tithed our income. I'm not trying to tell you that to brag on myself or get an award or anything like that. I'm just telling you that being faithful, God helps you. God guides you through that experience. And when you get enough people like that together, I think we find that we begin to actually meet some of the goals. That being said, I will tell you, if you've read books like Not Your Parents' Offering Plate and those kinds of things, which basically says that in the past, the church was solely supported by everybody's gifts, everybody's pledges, each and every year. Nowadays, that can't happen anymore. And there's some truth in that. We have to find ways outside of ourselves, but you have like these 3 or 4 different components. Do you all understand what I'm talking about here? Because this is really important. Okay. All right. So we've got to look at several different things. And I'm going to start next week talking about our faith in God and what God calls us to do, not just with our giving, but with a lot of things. Now, I will also tell you, my first message is going to be from the Old Testament, but my second message is going to be from the New Testament. And I will tell you that Jesus talked about money more than anything, because I think all of us struggle with that at times. And I don't think it's just people in our day. I think it was people in his day as well, with what it means to practice stewardship and what it means to be a person that practices stewardship with your whole life, not just one simple part of it. Okay, so we are going to share with you a card next Sunday after I preach my message. We're going to give you a card. We want you to take it and to go home and to be in prayer about what God would have you give. The next Sunday, we're going to come back. We're going to put those cards in a basket, and we're going to look at what people are pledging. Of course, as we start and we move through the year, if something happens and you don't make quite as much as you think you were going to, you can always change that number. You can always call the office and change that number. The other side of that, though, is let's say you made a little bit more than what you thought you would. Maybe you can call the church and increase that amount, and that would be very much appreciated. But that's pretty much what we're going to do. These next 2 Sundays, we're going to spend time thinking about us as contributors. Yes, we are only one part of that, but that we are each being challenged to be faithful, so that as a whole, we can get a little bit closer to where we need to be. Okay. Now, that being said, I think I've talked. We're just going to have to do some more things. We're going to have to look at outside sources that can help us. So we're going to do fundraisers. We're going to do venues here in this building and continue to do what we've been doing. Okay. There's a few other things that I want to share with you. Do any of you all want to ask me any questions at this point? Okay. All right. We are very blessed to have JR with us. I received some messaging from McFarland Church, and as well as our district superintendent, asking us to take JR on as a candidate for ministry. What does that mean? Right now, his status is as a local pastor. But JR has interest in pursuing commissioning and elder ordination. And so we want to try to look at that. Now, right now, I will also tell you that off on the side here, I have been talking to some of our conference leaders because I want to know if there's any way they can be of help to us. But the district superintendent has asked us to hold a small charge conference. He's going to give me the authority to preside over this meeting, and we're going to do it within the administrative council. It's probably going to take like 1 minute, and we are going to continue him as a candidate for ministry. What the district superintendent has asked me to do is to mentor him. And we may be changing his job description a little bit, because part of his journey needs to be the ministry that he's been doing. He's done great ministry, but the other part of it is beginning to equip him and prepare him to be able to be a pastor of a church, his own church, to be the lead pastor of a church. That's what I'm talking about. So that will be coming up. The other thing is that we have. Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you all for serving in leadership positions and being willing to do those things. It takes all of you all to make it work. One of the things that I like about this church is that you guys like to come together. You like to make plans. You enjoy each other's company, and you are very fruitful and productive in the ministry that you do. That is why I took such a strong stance against, the one committee church idea. And then there was, okay, hang on just a second here. I'm sorry. I didn't sleep much last night at all. And so I'm trying to put all this together. Okay, but what we are doing is we are continuing to be the church, and I really like that. And I want to say this. Meeting with the steering committee has really been great from the standpoint that I feel like what we're trying to do as a church is come together and try to solve this problem. Nobody's pointing fingers and saying, this is the fault of this person in this ministry area or this staff person or whatever it is. Nobody is doing that. And I want to invite all of you to come around that idea. During disaffiliation, there was a process for the way that a church could disaffiliate from a church, from a congregation. From the United Methodist Church. But let me tell you something. They took all of that good work that was done in the conference office, and they just did whatever they wanted to do. And folks, we need to be led by God, and we need to be led by love for our neighbor. And right now, I feel like we're doing that, but I want to get the larger group of you, not just those 10 people that are meeting and strategizing and trying to figure out what to do next. I want all of us to come around this problem. It's our problem. Amen? Okay. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't have all of the answers, except for us to continue to be as faithful as we can, to be as good of stewards as we can, to try some things, to try to make some money. That's the best way I know. Okay. Let me get to the good part of my report. We're going to be having a lot of things happening during the holidays. The first thing is on November the 17th, we are going to have a Thanksgiving dinner and a pie auction. I understand this is a great tradition in the life of the church. In the first part of December, we are going to be doing a Hanging of the Greens service. We will do the service at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There are other things going on. There is the Oklahoma City Bell Choir. There's an Oklahoma City Bell Choir. They have like 5 or 6 octaves of bells, and they go and they perform in different places. They have agreed to come and play at our church, and that is going to be on December the 6th at 7 p.m., and I hope that many of you all will be able to come and be a part of that. We also have our own bell choir, and the bell choir and the youth are going to be doing some things during worship during the Christmas season. But on the 15th of December, they are going to do a couple of 1 or 2 musical numbers. We have a children's play on December 18th, and then we will have our traditional Christmas Eve service of candlelight and communion at 6 p.m. So we have a lot of great things going on, and that's probably the last part of what I want to share with you, and that is, folks, we need to stop. We need to pray. We need to work on all these different ways of trying to solve some of these financial issues. But we also need to continue to be faithful to the ministry to which we are called. And let's just keep on doing that. Because, folks, that's where we find our joy. That's where we find our hope. Like I said, none of us have all the answers. But let's stay together and let's continue to seek God's guidance, and let's just be in ministry. You know, sometimes you can be sitting around and you can be listening to what our challenges are and what our problems are, and you can really get yourself depressed. It's easy to do. But folks, we don't have to live like that. We have been freed by the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ to live and to walk in the way to which He has called us. Are we going to have to do some things differently? Yes. Are we going to have to be challenged to give a little bit more? Yes. Are we each going to be asked to be a part of doing fundraisers and other things that will bring income into this church? Yes. But we are the church. And with God, I want to echo what David said, with God, all things are possible. Okay? All right. That's all I have to share with you for right now. Anything else that we need to? Okay. All right. Well, let's pray together. Oh God, there are many times in our lives when we are challenged. There are many times in our lives where we need to stop and look inside of our own hearts, and we need to see where we are, and we need to think about what it means to be better disciples and to grow in greater ways. And Lord, I just pray for this church and its ministry. It is so joyful, and there's so many things to look forward to. And God, I just pray that we can keep that joy in our hearts, and that we can find a way to work through these financial challenges. And I thank you, Lord, for each person here who has stayed, because, Lord, they care about what happens in this church. And, Lord, let us keep the ties that bind us. Help us, Lord, to come together and to encourage one another, and to help one another. And help us above all to serve you. And Lord, just give us the strength and the courage to do the things that we need to do. And it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. Thank you all so very much for staying.